Now you've done the small deal. How
Yeah.
did you jump from the small deal to the big buildings?
It was by fluke, actually. So I just continued looking for deals, and deals continued coming, closing, deals continued coming, and I stumbled upon almost like a mixed use property. And out of that, we bought it, and I tested commercial leasing at that time. And literally, I went onto TPN, and like it was a Saturday afternoon, Rita and I, we talking, we call Saturday our board meeting, me and her, because we literally spend like around about 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock just talking on the phone. And and out of that, we downloaded TPN, and we realized that the rules of engagement, tenant engagement, are totally different from a residential and a tenant. So we fell in love with it. We're like, you're giving someone a box, you don't pay rates and taxes, you like, and they pay you. So we're like, no, this is what we should be doing. And from there on, when you're doing stuff, you start finding a sweet spot. And at that time, for me, I found my sweet spot, and my sweet spot is mixed use buildings.
Mixed use.
And yeah, and which is a different sweet spot for Reta. So Reta is a student accommodation. That's a sweet spot. Reta is a nature. She's a mom, and she likes to do amazing things, like with kids. That is. So there's a birthday in the house. She wants to throw a party for that kid. I'm like, what the hell? She brings
I would
in.
rather never ever see them and not know them.
So yeah, but that's just being different, right? Just the day before yesterday, she brought in Planet Fitness in one of the buildings to do exercises for the kids. That's Reta for you. I'm not.
And,
I'm not like that.
but they're your customers, eh? I'm also not like that. I'm not like I'm personally. I would not want to know anyone or see them ever, and they not know me.
It's different. It's
Yeah.
different for different people. And Reta gets excited, gets the energy from being around people, right? Whereas I'm the opposite. I'm like, I want to be with people for like a tenth of my time in the day. I get the energy and I pour out value, but I want to go away.
Yeah.
And when I go away, my juices start coming. Yeah.
So let's go to guys. Do you guys have any questions? Let's go to what's the biggest mistake you've made in your journey?
Oh, plenty, bro.
What's the give me the one that you can think of. Give us the big one, the massive one. Not to scare anyone away, guys. It's good to know that things what mistakes because you are gonna make mistakes and
Yeah. So disclaimer out there: embrace mistakes. If you don't embrace mistakes, you're not going to grow. So mistakes is part of the game. There is no child who's ever started walking without falling. So the more they fall, the more they know how to walk, and that's for me. That's what I take it as. So my biggest mistake is not being able to identify, and I want to speak to the transaction and the relationship part. Um, Not being able to understand the difference in people, on people who are looking for relationships and people who are looking for transactions. And when I say that, I've lost some business partners that we could have gone on a longer journey at a faster speed than where I am today. But we didn't understand it at that time. So I was in my learning curve. I'm still in. I'm a student for life. And I didn't see that these people were looking for a relationship. So we got into a deal. So for instance, one of my partners, whom I'm parting ways with, and basically he was looking for a relationship. In hindsight, he's got no family in South Africa. It's just him. He's got good money. He worked. He could like, so he opened up the bank to me at a point, and I was transactional. I was doing the deals. We would report to him when he asks. I would report to him. There was no format. So this month it looks like this. The other month it looks like that. So I'm learning in the business. This is like almost like 3-4 years ago. And you got frustrated. From being frustrated, you said, you know what, TJ, I'm gonna do a few deals, but I'm gonna call it quits. And last year, he then came by and then he says, I'm going out of the country, and I was going to keep my money here and grow it, but I just want to take all my money out. In conversations with him, I then realized that there are people that are relationship based and there are people that are transactional. And I started searching in me on who am I in terms of the business. And I discovered I'm a relationship person. And I'd also discovered that, but I am not pouring the relationship to the people, which is my partners. So I took some time out, almost in 2018, the end of 2018, and we're literally putting structures in our business. Who is responsible for nurturing relationships with our investor partners? We started doing stuff like going out to dinners with our investor partners. We started talking about spending family days with our partners. We started talking about, no matter whether the reports are done or not, on the 15th of each month, standard reports needs to go out. What does a standard report look like? It needs to look like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And with that, our communication levels shot up. That's number one. They know exactly what is happening in their businesses.
Yeah.
Number two, they know who to get hold of. It's not everyone in the entire business. They have one person to contact. And that one person is me. And for that reason, I now need to understand everything in my business. Because I need to be in the front talking to my investor partners. This is how it's going. It's going like this. We started introducing show and tell. Some people have come to our show and tell. All of that is to manage relationships, which is bigger than. So our relationships have opened up many doors for us. So for instance, one of our investor partners from 2017, he invests with us. His wife got retrenched after she's been working for 20 years or so for a company. Her entire pension is with us.
Yeah.
The mother, she's from Piet Retief. She's retiring now. She's bringing in her money. The entire retirement money is coming into our fund. And that all started off from relationships. So people are not after the transaction. It's relationships.
That's good advice, eh? That's good advice. Yeah. That's powerful advice. So transactional people, relationship people. People after the relationship, not. And if you transactional, sometimes you might come across maybe too forceful, too desperate.
Yeah.
Eh? And I know I've done that. I've made the mistakes as well. You come, this is what you came for. This is what we're gonna do. This is this. But this is what we need.
Yeah.
And sometimes you lose the person in that. So that's great advice there, guys.
Yeah.
TJ.
But here's the power, Leroy.
Yeah.
When you're in a solid relationship, right? Stuff can go wrong, but it's easy to forgive, or it's easy to look past it because you are in a relationship. When you are transactional, when stuff goes wrong, you're going to find someone to blame. You're going to want your money out. You're going to say, what does the contract say? And you pull all the guns all the way to the lawyers and things like that. But basically, what am I saying here? When the relationship is new, you need to find the balance of the transaction and the relationship, because the relationship is new. I've got business partners that have opened up other opportunities that I didn't know of or think of. But because they're seeing the potential, this bra can do this, this bra is sharp. Let me connect him to that other bra who's also sharp. But I still want to be in the business there. And I basically know the wife, the kids, and the conversation is about, I'm doing this for my kids. So when I am doing that business, my conscience is very clear. It's not for me. It's John and Betty's kids and my kids. So my level of execution is totally different from the transaction.
Powerful advice there. So TJ, we've got a question here, but I think I'm going to cover that with, this guy says he's thinking of development opportunities in Soweto, Gauteng townships, specifically looking at 2-bed apartment buildings. I'm planning about building 20 units or 2-bedroom apartments. How do you determine what's a good deal? Let's maybe take a building. Let's take a building for Tabiso's sake. You come to Soweto, 20 units, you get the call, sourcing agent, estate agent, whichever way you get it, and you show up. How do you determine whether you're going to do this deal or not do this deal? Where do you start? Pulling up in your car, you and Rita, what's the process you go through to give it a tick or to give it a cross?
Sure. Well, the team has grown now. It's just not me and Rita anymore. I've got Hubert, who looks after all of our developments. He's been doing developments for 15 plus years. So there's this thing that they call the power team. And the power team is just basically people that you work with. I have taken it in a level higher. I've got what I call the core team. So my core team is my business partners, people that I do business with. So I've got an attorney who's my core partner. I've got a developer who's my core partner. And I've got a fund manager who's my core partner. I've got a finance person who's my core partner, and that's better. And these people play a specific role in any deal, right? And it doesn't mean that if you don't have those people as partners, you can't do deals. You can hire them. And hire and fire and things like that. So I get into my car, I go and see it. But before I even go and see any property, I like to pull reports, right? And I pull my report, TPN, and investors report. There's a report that's called an investor report. And basically, I'm doing what's called a desktop research, okay? And I look at what's happening in the area. I look at income brackets in the area.
Where do you get these reports from?
tpn.co.za.
Okay, put that in there.
Right. And out of that report, it's not even 50 rand, maybe about 20, 30 rand.
Investor report, right?
Yeah, investor report. With that, it gives me a good indication whether it's a neighborhood that I want to invest in, right? So if it's your first time, I suggest that, do this in an area where you understand. Because if you're doing this in an area that is foreign to you, even if you get the TPN reports, most of the stuff is going to be foreign to you anyway, right? Because you just don't know what you don't know. So having said that, I want then to understand that report. When I do that report, I will then ask the address. I'm going to get there maybe about 30 minutes before. I'm going to drive maybe about in the 5-10 streets going that way, just to get a feel of the area. I really like doing that. And then I park. When I park, I also want to walk the streets. That's my favorite one. And I like to speak to the mamas on the corner, what's happening. You get a lot of insights from those people. And then thereafter, maybe the estate agent is there. You might not be able to do what I've just said in the beginning, but you can do it later, right? After the estate agent is gone. Because remember, the estate agent is showing you what they are seeing. I want to be able to see what I want to see. Where is the opportunity for myself? And with that, I then look at the opportunity, right? In terms of if it's a development like Tabiso's one, very rarely are you going to see in Soweto a place that is zoned res 4 or 3. And Tabiso, if you don't know what res 3 and 4 is, go onto my channel, YouTube channel, and look for town planning videos. And there's a bro of mine called Dumisani. He talks a lot about
Is that
zoning.
the M5 Property Addicts or the Taurai Jack channel? Which one is it?
No, it's the M5 Property Addicts.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll put it in the comment sections afterwards, guys.
Awesome stuff. Now with that, number one, you now need a guy like Dumisani to check whether that property that you're looking at, the zoning is correct for what you are seeing or what you are wanting to do, a development. Then for me, I'm going to bring in Hubert. Hubert is my development guy, right? And he has done development, so there's lots of things that he's going to see that I might not see. And when I bring him across, I want Dumisani to be also the town planner. Yeah. And the two of them will then speak, because when the zoning takes place, the town planner can tell you how high can you go. So what's the densification? And together with the developer, that language, it changes or breaks the deal between those two people. Now with that, Hubert then, my developer, then goes in to take that information and takes it into a spreadsheet, and we start working to see the cost of developing. And from the cost of developing, are we making profit or not? How much can we offer? At that time, for me, if it is zoned correctly, I will put in an offer. It's a good deal for me to go, because I can literally submit my plans, and then I can go and build in less than a month. But if it is maybe the development is not even zoned correctly, but I have another property down the road which is zoned, I'm going to go for that one, and I'm going to leave this one.
The zoning takes long. Takes long.
Yes. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that it can be done. It can be done. But I'm just now looking at, you're looking at multiple opportunities that you have, and that's the beauty of it. If you have more opportunities that you're looking into, you can start handpick. And from handpicking, you can now be able to say that I'll do. The one that you looked at today, maybe it's not ripe today, but it could be ripe in 2 months' time. Yeah. So you can come back to it in 2 months' time and execute it. So for me, it's about the area, Leroy. Am I comfortable in that area? That's number one. Number two, am I comfortable to grow into that area? Because I don't like to be like my father, just planting kids all over the show and not look after them. I'm not like that. So I want to be able to have a property in an area, but I also want to set up office in that area. So I want to have like an estate agent who's going to work within our office. I want to have a collections person who works in that office, in that area. I want that business to function outside me. Right? Now, I can't do that with one property. So I never go into an area and I look for one property only. I have the big picture in mind. Can I grow in this area? And if the answer is yes, I'm going to do that property. So which means that I'm comfortable with the area, which means that I've got a bigger picture for the area. And in the background, everything else that I'm doing in M5 Property Addicts can come in and plug into that. So Bevan, who's my property manager, now comes in with his estate agent, and that person works directly under him, right? Yeah. And the finance part of it, Reta needs to look at it from one aspect. The money is there, yes, it's there. Where we're going to get it, boom, it's there. Hubert now needs to come in to do the development. When he's done, he hands over to Bevan. And thereafter, I sit on the sideline and I see the project just running. And that's how I do it.
Well, thanks. I think Tabiso, I think that answers your questions there. But as I said, with developments, maybe depends on Tabiso. What have you done also? Do you have a team? Do you remember with the development comes fire? It's a lot of things that come in that you might not you might not know if you haven't done 1 or 2 or 3 of them, or you don't have a team that is experienced. I think your team is important there, Tabi. So whatever for that development you want to do.
My recommendation, Leroy, to Tabiso is that if he's never done a flip or normal renovation, 2-bed, 1-bath, start there first. Because it's good to make 1 toilet mistake on a 2-bed, 1-bath, because it's just two toilets or 1 toilet. Man. That's 300 Rand. When you've got a development and you miss to include a toilet, that's 300 times 20. It's an expensive exercise. So learn the skills on something. I'm always saying to people, what you need to do is start small, but learn fast and grow fast.
Yeah.
Right. So why am I saying start small? When you're starting small, you're learning the foundation. And the more you're going to learn, because you've got a foundation, it becomes easier to scale because your foundation is there. But when you've got no foundation, it's difficult to scale, and you don't know how to scale as well, and you can't see your loopholes. You start losing money.